Margaree Forks, Nova Scotia. Every October, two significant migrations take place on the Margaree River on Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia. The first consists of hundreds of Atlantic salmon, returning to their natal river to spawn after a year, or sometimes longer, spent in the ocean. Most of these salmon will traverse more than 1,000 miles on their journey home. The other is made up of legions of anglers from all over the world who flock to the Margaree in the hopes of connecting with one of those Atlantic salmon. Among them is Susie Moore of Newburyport, Massachusetts, effortlessly throwing taut loops of line from her 13-foot, double-handed fly rod. On the first evening of my week-long trip to the Margaree, I sat on the riverbank and watched Moore and 5 other anglers fish a stretch of water on the lower portion of the river. Atlantic salmon were playfully leaping and porpoising throughout the pool, but neither Moore, an accomplished angler and champion bird dog trainer, nor her fellow fishermen could persuade one to take a fly. "That's Atlantic salmon fishing," Moore said with a smile. Moore and her husband, Alan, a retired architect, fish all over the world each year. But every October since 1987, they have come back to the Margaree, staying at their cozy home on the river, where they each have a fly tying desk. "The fishing on the Margaree is challenging but so interesting," Moore said. "We love it up here." They are not alone. "I was here with my uncle, Charles Gaines, a writer from Birmingham, Alabama, and his friend Chris Child, an investment real estate broker from Holiday, Utah, staying in a family cabin perched on a meadow above the river." Gaines first fished the Margaree in 1978, Child in 1987. Since the early 2000s, the two men have been the mainstays of a rotating cast of anglers who spend an October week on the Margaree. Gaines and Child are part of a long line of fromaways who have come here to fish since the 1930s. Among the first was the Brooklyn-reared Lee Wolf, a fly fishing legend who landed his first Atlantic salmon here in 1933 and proclaimed the Margaree "my first love among salmon rivers." To be sure, there are easier places in the world to catch an Atlantic salmon. In Europe, Iceland, Russia, and most other provinces in Canada, most salmon rivers are private, and thus offer solitude and many more fish. Those luxuries come at a steep cost, though. A prime week at the Atlantic Salmon Reserve on Russia's Kola Peninsula costs close to $20,000. A week at a good camp on New Brunswick's Miramichi River goes for $4,000. The Margaree, however, is public, like all salmon rivers in Nova Scotia. The Margaree salmon season runs from June 1 to October 31. The river can get crowded, but anglers share the water by moving through the pools in an affable conga line, a cast, a swing of the fly and a step downstream so that everyone gets a shot at the prime salmon lies. The pressure certainly makes the angling more difficult, but, like skiers in the eastern United States, Margaree salmon anglers work with what they've got. The angling, though, is only part of the appeal of the area.